Yesterday, the newest and youngest player in Major League Baseball would join the Dodgers. Then he and the Dodgers flew across the country. And then 4 hours ago, 19-year-old Julio Urias arrived at Citi Field, prepared to make his Major League debut. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Citi Field in New York, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Mets in the first of a three-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Orel Hershiser, and this is the night Dodger fans have been waiting for since Julio Urias signed his contract with the Dodgers at the ripe old age of 16.
Yeah, the fans have been waiting for it. The front office has been waiting for it. The player development people and the scouts that sign him, and Mike Brito. And this is a night when all these people work comes to a culmination in his left arm.
And so as we take a look at Urias and how he got to this point tonight, let's understand he is now the youngest player in Major League Baseball, considered to be the #2 prospect overall. Arrives here having 27 consecutive shutout innings, and as far as this debut tonight, certainly fit for a king.
Yeah, what are we going to expect from him? We know that he's left-handed. We know he's a young man, a teenager pitching at the big league level, and we know he's from Mexico. But the left arm is going to bring a 92 to 94 mile-an-hour fastball, a two-seamer. He can get it up to 97, working on a better, tighter slider, a curveball, and a changeup. The young man has the tools to succeed at this level. It's now time for us to be introduced to those tools.
On the bus to the ballpark, in the clubhouse this afternoon, young Mr. Urias showed no signs of nerves whatsoever. Unlike, or not unlike, Fernando from 1981. We'll look ahead with Alana when we come back. Imagine what's going through the mind of Julio Urias as he is moments away from making his major league debut, taking the long walk in from the bullpen with his battery mate Yasmani Grandal and his pitching coach Rick Honeycutt. Here's the lineup that manager Dave Roberts had put together, brought to you by Honda. It'll be Utley, and what an ovation I suspect he will be receiving in a matter of moments. Seager, Turner, and Gonzalez in the cleanup spot. Kendrick in left, Peterson in center, Yasiel Puig in right, Yasmani Grandal behind the plate, and Julio Urias will be pitching and batting ninth and facing the 27-year-old right-hander Jacob deGrom.
And I think since age will be a topic today, we're talking about somebody who's 8 years older, has some big league experience, of course, against the Dodgers, pitched against them in the playoffs, and pitched very well. He's going to come at you with a very hard fastball, upwards of 96, 97 miles an hour, curveball, slider, changeup, about 2 miles an hour short of what his velocity was back there in the playoffs against the Dodgers this year. Manager Terry Collins, in talking to him over some time prior to the game and the last series against the Mets, talks about a playoff hangover that he worried about with these Mets, and deGrom might be just feeling a little bit of a hangover from all the workload from last year.
In his last start, 5 innings, 4 runs, and 5 base hits. So Barry Collins certainly has some concern. Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. And so with the Dodgers getting ready to play this big weekend series with the Mets in New York, and then it's on to Chicago for 4 games. This weekend the Giants are in Colorado, San Diego is in Arizona. It's a lovely, it feels like an early summer night here at Citi Field. The Dodgers come in having won a season high 4 consecutive games. The Mets have won 5 of their last 6. The Mets trail Washington by 1 game in the National League East. The Dodgers are 4.5 behind the Giants in the National League West. Well, Chase Utley, who was greeted with some not exactly flowing headlines in New York in the papers this morning, will now hear it from the fans at Citi Field tonight. And so this is Utley's first game back in New York since last October. Utley at 289. First pitch from deGrom, high and outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
If Chase would have been wearing a Met uniform last year, they would have given him a standing ovation with a greeting of someone that plays as consistently and as hard as he does.
Seager on deck, Turner to follow, and Utley is ahead, 2 balls and no strikes.
There's no doubt that Chase Utley has made an impact on the Los Angeles Dodgers since being acquired last year and coming aboard. The character, the poise, and this year, unexpected production.
2 balls and a strike. This is the play that everybody remembers, and a whole new rule became known as the Utley rule.
Sliding late, but within the rules at that point, and that's why Chase didn't get suspended. But Major League Baseball now wanting to protect the middle infielders. And so you have to start your slide before the bag. You can't contact the middle infielder above the knee. You can't reach for him. You have to be going towards the bag, and your slide has to end up where you can still be touching the bag.
2-2. Jacob deGrom, this is his 8th start. Opponents are hitting .260 against him this year, and is an ERA of a shade over 3.
deGrom has hit kind of a skid of late. Last 4 starts, he's had an ERA of 4.63, has not gotten a winning decision, 3 no decisions and a loss. And his ERA has climbed to 3.07 from a low of 1.02.
3-2 just underway from New York. Utley works out a walk, and we're underway.
Well, the first emotional battle of the evening is won by Chase Utley and the Dodgers. There'll be another one when Julio Urias takes the mound as a 19-year-old.
That is the story of the night. Now here's Corey Seager stepping in. Dodgers and the Mets split 4 games back in Los Angeles earlier in the month. Seager 7 home runs and 23 runs batted in. Dodgers 4.5 behind the Giants. They'll be getting underway in a couple of hours. 1-1 to Seager. Justin Turner on deck and Adrian Gonzalez to follow. Seager looking at signs from third base coach Chris Woodward. The 1-1. Here's a strike.
The series against the Mets back in LA, the Dodgers scored 12 runs in that series. The Mets scored 10. They both came out of it with the split. So you move from Dodger Stadium, which is pretty much a pitcher's park, to here at Citi Field, another pitcher's park, and you don't expect a lot of offense.
The Dodgers are a much better offensive team on the road than they are at home. At home, they're hitting .222, averaging about 3.5 runs per game. On the road, hitting .256 and averaging over 5 runs per game. The Dodgers have taken their act on the road for the next 7.
Dodgers right now with Utley and Corey Seager doing a great job laying off that high fastball around the shoulders. You can't hit it even with a bat in your hand usually, so you might as well take it. But they're making good reads right out of DeGrom's hand. There's one slightly lower that he thought he could get to. Still hard to catch up to.
Already a dozen pitches and he hasn't retired anybody. 2 miles an hour or less over the course of a year. Is there anything to read into that?
3 miles an hour is about a foot in distance when you calculate it out from the mound to home plate. So that is a significant drop.
3-2.
You think about the sweet spot of a hitter's swing is somewhere probably between a foot and 18 inches of where there's good contact space to hit the barrel and you want to hit it. So when your fastball changes by almost a foot in reaction time, that makes the hitters have a little more confidence.
On 3-2, there goes Utley. Call strike 3, throw to second base. They strike him out, throw him out.
Three-two slider that Corey kind of blinks through. If it was fastball, it's going to probably be tailing away and end up a ball. It's a slider and it comes back and hangs on the plate. Chase Utley, not with the base stealing speed that he used to have, had a decent jump, but a nice throw got him.
So 2 out and nobody on. Julio Urias getting ready for his debut. Justin Turner stepping in at .238 with 3 home runs and 15 runs batted in. There's a strike. The Mets were Turner's last employer before the Dodgers got him a couple of years back, and he's been terrific on the West Coast in his hometown.
It was really easy for the Mets to say they made a mistake in letting him go after they saw Justin's production. There are some where you see decisions are made and players go on and they have just so-so performances, and it's easy for an organization to talk around that decision, but this one was, they had to come very clean and say, yeah, we made a mistake.
2-2. So here's DeGrom in search of his 4th win. As Oral mentioned, he's been struggling his last few outings. Citi Field is packed to the rafters. And Turner's down on strikes. Don't go away. When we come back, Julio Urias, the 19-year-old wonderkid, the prodigy, will make his major league debut next. In 89 days, Julio Urias is about to make his major league debut. He is the youngest since Felix Hernandez back in 2005. His mom, his dad, his brother and sister and friends are all here. His mom got on an airplane for the first time to come to Citi Field and watch her son make his debut.
Well, and she's going to see her son, who when he signed was throwing about 91, 92, but now he can top out at 97 miles an hour. He will pitch today around 92 to 94 miles an hour. He says, I don't throw my hardest unless I need it, and I have much better movement and command when I throw at that speed. Been working on a very tight slider, a curveball, and a changeup, and all of the pitches are big league plus.
Every journey begins with a first step. So Urias has arrived, 1 ball, no strikes, to Curtis Granderson with Cabrera and Wright to follow. Into right field, into the corner, and a foul ball.
Fastball up, nervous as the ball goes in, very nervous as it leaves the bat. And then when the ball goes foul, oh, just a little bit of calm.
It's almost a Zen-like quality to him. Certainly that was the case on the bus today and when he arrived at the ballpark. Two and one.
I mean, I think everybody is thinking, what were they like when they were 19 years old? Maturity level. Were they in college? Where were they?
2 and 2.
Young man was signed on his 16th birthday, and here it is, days before the 20th birthday. He's in the big leagues.
3 and 2. Clayton Kershaw, by the way, made his major league debut 8 years and 2 days ago. That was back at Dodger Stadium. Kershaw in his debut gave up a couple of runs in 6 innings, had a no decision. That was against the Cardinals 8 years and 2 days ago. On 3 and 2. Now that's the way to begin a major league career.
94 miles an hour called strike to Curtis Granderson that becomes a souvenir for Mr. Urias. And it gets the strike zone, and it might just get him right into this inning feeling like he was back in AAA with the scoreless streak still continuing.
His last start a week ago against Salt Lake City. Of course, as we mentioned in the open, he arrived with a 27-inning scoreless streak. Now he's on Broadway. Just under the knees, 1 ball and no strikes.
And chatting with one of his teammates who's on the Dodgers now, Mike Bolsinger, he said he could have been getting big league hitters out for the last month and a half for sure.
2 balls, no strikes. So Dodger super scout Mike Brito, who of course discovered Fernando, was in on the signing of Julio Urias. There's a strike.
Along with Paul Fryer and Logan White, who were on the trip where they saw Julio.
They were scouting other people too. That wasn't. They just happened to come across this Urias. In the left, well hit. 1 hop off the wall. As Asdrubal Cabrera with his 6th 2-base hit of the year.
Asdrubal just turns on a fastball that is up, kind of bails out with the front shoulder to get the barrel through, and Howie Kendrick kind of takes a circuitous route to that ball and gets it in. It was going to be a double all the way.
So Cabrera, who's gotten off to a terrific start for the Mets, a pleasant surprise talking to Terry Collins about him. Well, here's the heart, soul, and face of the franchise, David Wright. Wright with back issues, and immediately Yasmani Grandal is going to talk to Urias.
Well, man on second, just making sure what set of signs they're going to use. Could be anything from first sign after 2 to second sign, and first sign if I shake, just clearing it up. And they could have done that in Spanish or English.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered. They had gloves over their mouths anyway. David Wright takes a breaking ball high and away. Mentioned that Wright has had back issues. They're really chronic now. Lucas Duda is on the disabled list. Similar back issues. Well, we have a moment of the Honda lineups put together tonight by manager Terry Collins. Well, you've seen Granderson and Cabrera. Now it's Wright. Cespedes, who leads the league in home runs and RBIs. Neil Walker, the former Pirate. Lagares in center. Pilecki is the catcher. Campbell at first base. And DeGrom pitching and batting ninth. That was a nasty breaking ball.
And for a 1-1 pitch, the most important pitch in baseball, to take the count to 1-2 or 2-1, to throw that nice, easy, slow curveball. Outstanding pitch.
1-2, and Cespedes on deck. And Cespedes is an especially dangerous customer. Hitting over 400 against left-handed pitching this year. Now, if you're going to have a wild pitch, you might as well get your money's worth.
Well, there's been slight evidence of nerves, but that's the obvious evidence of a little bit of an overthrow right there to throw it that high. A 1-2 fastball up, but this is over David's head. The other evidence has just been a lot of his misses have been up, and that can be just from a little not being sure as your landing foot hits that you're not finishing your delivery. You're wanting to see what's happening.
Dodgers bring the infield in for Wright as Cabrera leads from third, but Wright is down on strikes. He needed a strikeout, and he got it.
Right back to the high fastball, and an outstanding adjustment by the young man to throw a wild pitch about 4 feet higher than that one, and then to come back with one that is tantalizing and effective.
And how about the 1-1 breaking ball? And then he blows away right to finish him off. Mentioning Cespedes, who leads the National League with 15 home runs, 36 runs batted in. You see maybe the most noteworthy stat in this at-bat. He's .429 against left-handed pitching. Now if Urias can get out of this first inning. One ball, no strikes.
When you're as excited and nervous as Urias probably is, sometimes you lose a bit of feel. That 1-1 curveball showed that he's got it in there. But a few of these other pitches are showing that, you know, maybe the nerves are taking him out of his rhythm a little bit. He's working that gum over.
He was so relaxed before the game, got a haircut. Took a lot off the sides. Fastballs have been up. The 20th pitch, the first inning of Urias's big league career. Up again.
Well, Julio will be on a pitch count, of course. He has not thrown more than 6 innings in one game in the minor league level, and he has not thrown more than 89 pitches in a game.
90, in fact, is the limit Dave Roberts told us before the game. Missing outside. Randolph's second visit to the mound.
He just arrived, of course, but he went through the first and third plays, the big league cutoffs and relays of what they want to do. With the shifts going on behind him, there'll be different responsibilities, but right now his concentration is on the hitter.
Neil Walker, the switch hitter, better from the right side than he is from the left. .313 as a right-handed batter, .258 as a left-handed hitter. The former Pirate takes high and in, 1 ball, no strikes. Walker grew up in Pittsburgh. One and one.
There's 2 parts of a location of a pitch. There's the height and then there's the width, and he has been doing a very good job with the width. That means he's staying in his lanes and he's getting his center of gravity going to right where he wants his target. It's just the height he's still working on, but that last pitch was a good one.
44 strikeouts and 8 walks for Urias at AAA this year in 41 innings. He struck out on the average more than 1 an inning. He struck out 2, walked 1 here in the first. Walker.
Used the breaking ball to 1-1 count to David Wright. Took him all the way to 3-2 and struck him out on a fastball. That 1-1 breaking ball misses. Now you're battling the uphill count, which is 2-1.
Lagares on deck, first and third, 2 out. Slicing foul and out of play. Of course, Alex Wood was initially scheduled to pitch tonight. He's been pushed back to Monday. And as the ultimate asterisk at the bottom of the page, Luis Aguilar was sent out to make room for Urias. On 2-2. Into left field. That's looking like trouble. To the wall. Cabrera scores. Cespedes is held at third. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead on the Walker double.
A big league pitch and a big league swing to stay on this down and in breaking ball. It's a pitch that he's been working hard to get down and in to right-handed hitters at the minor league level. That one maybe just doesn't get exactly where he wants, but you're going to get a lot of outs on that pitch, just not right now.
So the Mets score first. And when they do, they're 22-16 this year. Here's Lagares at 273. No home runs, 2 RBIs, second and third. And a strike at 95.
A telling pitch to give up the run in your very first big league inning and come back and throw that high quality a pitch to the next hitter. It shows a lot of maturity.
Crackling the glove of Grandal at 94. Two out in the first. Up the middle, past Seager, 2 runs will score. Lagares with the single. Cespedes and Walker come home, and the Mets take a 3-0 lead.
Another good pitch, slightly up. I think it's the first changeup he's thrown in the game, and he had him completely fooled. I think the bat is shattered completely off the end of the bat, just out of the reach of Julio and just out of the reach of Corey Seager. Drives in 2, and Rick Honeycutt going to give him a little chat and a little breather with 29 pitches he's already thrown.
Urias speaks English reasonably well. Of course, he's got Grandal there to serve as interpreter if necessary. But we had a fairly easy conversation this afternoon. Well, about half and half. 15 strikes, 14 balls of the 29 pitches thrown in the first inning. He has 2 strikeouts and a walk. And the Mets have 3 runs and 3 hits as Kevin Plawecki steps in. He's mired in quite a slump. Eric Campbell on deck.
When the 3 Dodger scouts went down to see some players down in Mexico, the #1 player they were going to watch is Yasiel Puig. Leonis, the catcher that's in our organization, also was signed through that scouting trip.
Into right field for a base hit. Lagares will hold at second. And the Dodgers wasting no time as you saw Chris Hatcher warming up in the pad.
Julio Urias, he was just an afterthought really as part of an inter squad game after the workout for Yasiel Puig and some other players. They decided to have an inter squad game for the scouts, and all the scouts were there from around Major League Baseball, all the organizations represented, and Urias on one team was like the 2nd or 3rd pitcher to come into the game. And the Dodger scouts took a shining to him and relayed the message back to LA.
Now Eric Campbell takes inside.
He was immediately put on the radar, and a lot of scouts shied away from him because he had a little mass above his left eye, and they weren't sure what it was and if that would affect his health, and to invest in him long term. The Dodgers evaluated the baseball skills, the maturity, the mechanics, the 91 to 93 mile-an-hour fastball at the time, and they projected him to be a frontline big league pitcher, and they invested in him. And our own Stan Kasten at the top of the organization gave permission to sign him through those scouting reports.
2-0. And last year he had the mass, as you call it, over the left eye removed, and it served several purposes. One, to remove it, you can see more clearly, and just as importantly, it shut down his arm and the number of pitches he would throw last year. Pitch count, all the more important.
It was benign, and there actually is another surgery that'll be in his future to remove a little bit more.
The 2-1 to Campbell is popped up behind the plate. Randall will run out of room.
Julio Urias is one of the first benefits of the new Dodger ownership, and the budget changing for minor league development and international signings. And so when you look at him, you thank Mark Walder and the Guggenheim and Magic Johnson and Stan Kasten for these are the kind of players that are coming.
The 36th pitch of the inning. We'll wait a moment. Andrew Friedman was saying on a conference call yesterday that he really is a product of everybody in the organization, from ownership on down, development, the minor league, the coaches. And here he is, a lot riding on Urias. And a line drive into left field, and Kendrick is there. That'll do it. A rocky first inning for Julio Urias. The Mets score 3. And the Dodgers have Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Peterson coming up. His student. What do you suppose Honey is telling Urias?
From the gestures right there with Rick's left hand, just the ball's up, and even when he throws strikes, those are high hittable pitches. He was only 1 for 8 with first pitch strikes against the Met hitters, so I'm sure it's going to be more about attacking. And when you throw the ball up, we're going to be looking for the swing and miss or the pop up, and when you throw the ball down, we're going to have to get down by the knees for a strike.
So we begin the second. The Dodgers down 3. DeGrom to face Adrian Gonzalez. Takes high. Gonzalez at 274, and this year Gonzalez has been a much better hitter on the road than he has been at home. To the right side, and from short right field, Walker picks it up and throws him out. The Mets are wearing their 1986 jerseys. This weekend they are celebrating the 30th anniversary of their World Series championship team. All of them will be back tomorrow and Sunday. Quite a team that was. Gooden, Darling, Heath Hernandez, Ray Knight. Here's Kendrick.
It was a very good team. Team that we pretty much had to beat in '88 then to go on.
Kendrick in left field tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just like the Oakland A's that we beat in '88 for the World Championship, the Mets were that good for that long also through those mid-'80s years.
Gary Carter. 2-2 to Howie Kendrick at 234 after hitting under $150 in the month of April. So Kendrick is rounding into form, and the 2-2 call, strike 3. Well, we're mentioning Ray Knight and those '86 Mets, and one of the great calls from the World Series.
3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
And people forget that was just Game 6.
That was a heartbreaker.
And the Red Sox had an early lead in Game 7. Here's Jock Peterson. Jock with 8 home runs leads the Dodgers in home runs. No balls and 2 strikes. DeGrom walked Utley, then would strike out Seager and Turner. And he seems like he has found his rhythm here. One ball, 2 strikes.
DeGrom in the playoffs had a 13 strikeout game against the Dodgers, and he looks pretty locked in like he was in that postseason, not like the one that has been slumping over his last 4 starts.
Now 2-2 with Yasiel Puig on deck.
A tall 6'4" frame on the mound. He really gets down the hill and gets closer to the hitter. Really late release that is deceiving.
4th strikeout of the game for DeGrom. Peterson caught looking. Dodgers retired in order. We go to the bottom of the 2nd.
deficit as we make our way to the bottom of the second inning. You'd find yourself hard-pressed to find many folks who have accomplished more at age 19 than this young man. Here's what happened back in 1996, the year that he was born. The president was Bill Clinton. Alanis Morissette had the album of the year. Follow Me to Freedom, Charlie Steiner with the best picture of Braveheart. Summer Olympics in Atlanta. Not bad for a kid that's 19 years old. A.J. Ellis, just a sophomore at the time. I'm not sure what you guys were doing, but I certainly was not this accomplished. And I'm still not this accomplished at 40, let alone 19.
Alanis Morissette was 21 when she had the Grammy-winning award. Here's DeGrom, 2-1. DeGrom, Granderson, and Asdrubal Cabrera. That had some giddy up, 2-2.
Was that really the year that you said "Follow Me to Freedom" in the commercial?
No, actually, it was the millennium. So it was 99, 2000. That was when Sports Center and everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Whatever he does today, when I was 19, I was academically ineligible for Bowling Green State University, flunked out of college. My dad had to take me back there and convince the dean to let me back into school.
And when I was at 19, I went to Woodstock.
Okay.
So
I don't know which was in a better place.
It depends on the time and place. Curtis Granderson. He struck out in his first at bat. The Dodgers have the shift on for him. Breaking ball buckles the knees and misses outside. Granderson with 8 home runs. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Down and away.
A little upset with himself right there. He has a fantastic routine before throwing the ball out there, as far as his breathing, the way he gets onto the rubber accurately with his feet the same way every time, the movement with his arms, and then peering through the glove.
Missing low. Now 3-1 with 1 out. Time for a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts and the teenage Mr. Urias. Last 7 teenagers making a major league debut. King Felix, the last one. Todd Van Poppel was a #1 pick, and he never did pan out to be what everybody expected. And then there was that fella named Doc Gooden, who the Dodgers will see here tomorrow as they honor the 86 Mets. Jose Rijo had quite a career as well. So Granderson is aboard, and Cabrera is there.
Those cold hard facts show you that if you make that list by just your birth date and age, that you're probably going to have a very successful career. Some on the very high end, and most of them for a long time.
Cabrera doubled in his first at bat. And you were how old?
In the first big league game, I was almost 25.
You were a senior citizen compared to him.
Oh, for sure. What Clayton Kershaw has accomplished when he turned 25, and what that would have been my first big league outing, it was absolutely amazing when you think about Clayton coming up here as a teenager.
Eight years and 2 days ago, Kershaw made his major league debut. And Urias, 1-1, 48 pitches, and coming into the game, Dave Roberts saying 90 was the max for tonight. Into right, Puig going back. And he's there. Number 22, Clayton Kershaw, didn't wear that jersey when he made his debut against the Cardinals. Pitched 6 innings, gave up a couple of runs. There would be no decision. Back on May the 25th, 2008. Two out, and here's David Wright. Wright, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Struggling this year with 226 average. Now Urias wears number 78, a most unglamorous number. You would think, well, have a big time number. Well, it's not that easy. There's a strike. He wanted something with a 7 in it, but Alex Guerrero, that number belongs to him even though he's on the disabled list. 17 is A.J. Ellis. 27 belongs to George Lombard. 37 belongs to Brandon Beachy even though he's on the disabled list. 47, Howie Kendrick. 57 is Alex Wood. 67 is Lewis Coleman. And 78 was the number that they gave him in spring training. So Alex Torres went over to him and said, well, what do you want? He said, oh, I'll stick with 78. Of course, Kershaw broke in wearing number 54, subject to change without warning. Peterson makes the play. Wright is done. Puig, Grandal, and Urias will bat in the top half of the third. LA is brought to you by the Dodge Challenger. Test drive one at your local Dodge dealer today. Tommy Lasorda in 1982 in need of some orthodontia. Yasiel Puig fouls it off to the right. He was told in a game in '82, or 14 years before Julio Urias was born, by umpire Dave Pallone, you keep your mouth shut. Well, Tommy took him up on it. Puig takes high. Tommy wouldn't have done something like that, would he?
He did a lot of things like that.
1-2 to Puig. Grandal and then Urias. And the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
DeGrom was asked about his hair back about a few years ago, and he was getting ready to cut it. It was starting to really bother him. There was an interview from a few hitters that said, here's this 6'4" stick figure guy coming down the hill at you throwing 98, and he's got that hair there that bothers me too. And DeGrom saw the article and said, it
Really?
bothers me, but I'm never cutting my hair.
Here's a 2-2.
If you think about it, it's one more object out there that's moving as he's coming down the hill to you, and it's real close to the release point visually for a hitter.
DeGrom, the Floridian, on 3-2. Puig takes a walk. That's the second walk of the game given up by DeGrom.
I wonder if you could wear just a long wig just on the days you pitch. But he's got a crop up there.
Grandal, the switch hitter. Into short right. Walker's not going to get it. There wasn't much Puig could do. Now he's trying to go to third base, and he's going to make it. Living life on the edge.
That is an old Willie Mays play, that when you understand that the outfielder has cocked his arm but not thrown the ball, it takes a significant amount of time as far as the base runners are concerned to recock. So this first there, and then he has to do it again. Yasiel knows that once he bluffed slightly, that it's going to take him some time to get it and reload it. And so he takes him up on it, and especially with the balance and the movement going out to right field, a nice play by Yasiel.
Walker throwing off the back foot. The Dodgers have runners at the corners, and now we're going to find out together what kind of a hitter, and more importantly at this point a bunter, Julio Urias is. That's quite a bunt. The Dodgers have the bases loaded.
He might get his first big league hit out of that. His mother, who's in the stands, thought that he would never be a pitcher, even though since the age of 5 he wanted to be a baseball player. She always thought that he'd play in the field because he was always one of the best hitters on his team. Well, here shows he can handle the bat, perfect angle on the bunt, and maybe the perfect weight to get a hit out of it.
His father, his mother, his brother, and sister are here.
Looks like they've given it an error up on the scoreboard.
Either way, the Dodgers have the bases loaded. Well, they threw the ball back to the dugout just in case. Goes as a sacrifice and an error. So the Dodgers now with the bases loaded. And Chase Utley takes inside.
So he can label that first error against or on a AB in the big leagues, first sacrifice, almost first hit.
My first at bat.
Exactly.
Leave it at that.
Yep, contact.
There we go. Utley takes inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Seager on deck. A walk, a hit, a sacrifice, and an error. The bases are loaded. The Dodgers are back in business. Utley with a fly ball to center field. Lagares is there, plenty deep enough for Puig to tag and score. The throw comes back toward third. Sac fly for Utley, his 11th run batted into the season. The Dodgers are on the board. The Mets 3 and the Dodgers 1.
Only the third inning for the Dodgers, just to chip away at the 3-run lead, getting 1 right there. And looking for another one with first and second, 1 out.
And Corey Seager on his way up. Seager took a called third strike in his first at bat. 7 home runs and 23 runs batted in for Corey Seager. 1 ball, no strikes. One and one.
Corey Seager, very aggressive hitter, especially now in the 1-1 count. He's a notorious first ball hitter, as we've seen early in his career. DeGrom is around the strike zone.
On 1 and 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Seager's had a hit in 13 of his last 16. DeGrom's 47th pitch, first and second, 1 out.
Same pattern that he struck him out in the first at bat. Working the outer half with the fastball that tails off the plate or stays on the corner, or using the breaking ball to backdoor it out there.
2 and 2.
You see the dilemma right there. You got DeGrom bringing it 95, 96 miles an hour with it tailing away from Corey Seager. And then he can throw the same location, but a different break, and break it onto the outside corner of the middle of the plate with the slider, and it's going to be about 10 mile an hour slower.
On 2 and 2. Broken bat. There's 1 and 2. 1-6-3 double play. The Dodgers do get a run. The sac fly by Utley will go to the bottom of the 3rd.
Angeles, you know, the large community, Spanish, Mexican. So I think you know, it's great if you know, he's doing his work, doing his job. A lot of people they're gonna enjoy it.
Fernando and John Hartung during the pregame today, and here is Urias after a shaky first inning, 36 pitches. Only 19 for strikes, couple of strikeouts and a walk. Settled down in the second, faced 4 batters, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, and Cespedes will be leading it off. Cespedes, one of the toughest hitters against left-handed pitching in the league. .429 against lefties. He's the National League leader in home runs and runs batted in. There's a breaking ball for a strike.
That's the tale of 2 innings right there for Urias. First inning 1 for 8 first pitch strikes, and it was a rough one. The second inning he was 3 out of 4 in first pitch strikes, and here in his third inning starts Cespedes off with a strike.
Fastball in, and it's 2-1.
Watching Fernando with John Hartung coming out of break there, it's amazing that I was his Double-A teammate, and then he came up here, and Ducky LeJohn was our Double-A manager. And in San Antonio at VJ Keefe Field, they wired electricity so that Ducky could put a television in the corner nobody could see to watch Fernando's starts. So as we're playing Double-A, we've got a television in the dugout so we can watch Fernando, who got called up to the big leagues.
Into center, and Peterson is there. That's the first out of the bottom of the third. Show off your Dodger pride with a Dodger license plate frame. Get yours at the Dodger game on Monday night, June the 6th. Available to the first 40,000 fans. And presented by Arco. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Neil Walker doubled homer run in the first inning. Now you get the sense that Urias is able to exhale a little bit.
I think a little bit. I think, you know what I've really noticed, even in his rough first inning, that his pacing and his rhythm is solid. You know, the insides might be moving 100 miles an hour. The heartbeat is probably way over 100. But outwardly, he looks like he is processing and he's slowing the game down as much as he can. A lot of times failure with a young man at the big league level, you see it start to spiral out of control, and he's keeping his pacing and he's regulating it very well.
Up and in. So he and his parents got the news on Wednesday. Bill Hasselman, the AAA manager, with the good news, and here's a strike.
It must have been some phone call home, because he calls home an awful lot. Texts his mother. I guess there's battles in the household over who gets to talk to him the longest and get off by themselves to check in with him.
Foul back in our neighborhood.
Grandfather and father played in professional ball down in Mexico.
So the family hopped on a plane yesterday from Mexico City to New York. Of course, they had to take a long drive from their hometown to Mexico City. A 7-hour flight for his mom. Only the second time she'd ever been on an airplane. Can only imagine what they're thinking and feeling. From the time he was 5 years old, he told his folks he wanted to be a baseball player when he grew up. Well, here he is. Three and two with 1 out in the third. Comebacker. And that's the second out of the third inning.
That was Fernando-esque. Very good athlete, handles the bat, and to have a comebacker like that and not have it surprise you and then kind of nonchalant it, very easy, over to first base, no panic. no worry that it's not something that he does very naturally.
So 2 out. And Lagares has singled to center field and knocked in 2 in the first inning, stepping in. Lagares, with that 2 RBI single, doubled his RBI output for the season with 1 swing. 3-1 in the bottom of the 3rd. Lagares is now 2 for 2.
It's an unfair comparison, but it is a comparison on the down and in slider to righties. You think about the one you see from Clayton Kershaw when he's been striking out double figures, and now you look at the 19-year-old and how he's going to learn from Clayton, being a left-hander that can reach his areas of velocity and spin rate, that he'll be able to start to locate that a little lower, and it'll start disappearing as he continues to develop it.
Kevin Plawecki. He singled to right in his first at-bat. Outside. Two balls and no strikes. Now 3-0.
With 71 pitches, we know he won't go over 90. Love to get him in the dugout here with the pitch count down and see if he gets another shot at another inning. Put up a 0 here. Come back from this 3-0 count.
This is the 6th 3-ball count tonight. The 72nd pitch upcoming. Here's a strike, 3-1. Sold out Citi Field. 3-2. What a difference a year makes when we were here in July of last year before the Mets went into overdrive and had that great finish. This place is barely half filled. Now the Mets have essentially taken over New York. Mets just a game behind Washington. Pitch is high. First and second, 2 out. 3rd walk given up by Urias.
Well, when we see a few of those pitches like that, as we watch Chris Hatcher getting up for a 2nd time, there's a little disbelief that you're good enough when you overthrow balls like that. There's a little something that comes into your brain that tells you, am I really a big leaguer? I think I need to give more effort and be a little bit more perfect. And what Julio's going to find out is he's definitely good enough, and just to be able to trust it within his ability level.
Eric Campbell, the hitter. Again high. And again, Grandal will go out and talk to the youngster. Most pitches that Urias has thrown in any game this year is 82. And Dave Roberts was most definitive when we asked him before the game, what's the pitch count? 90. He's 15 away from that line.
Well, these are the most stressful pitches he's ever thrown in his life. When you put the adrenaline and the situation and achieving a lifelong dream.
Just beneath us. Campbell fly to left in his first at bat. Urias is trying to keep the Dodgers to within 2. So Campbell playing over at first base now that Lucas Duda is on the DL with the back. 1-2. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
If this is his last inning, it'd be great to get him up the tunnel if they decide to take him out with a good feeling. Punch out right here, routine out.
2 on and 2 out. The 80th pitch. Just high, and Urias thought he had strike 3.
Well, you can just see how narrowly he misses with a lot of these sliders. He's trying to backdoor him to the outside, and they're all slightly away and slightly too high. He'll definitely make that adjustment.
Another walk. 4th of the night. It loads the bases for Jacob deGrom, and here comes Dave Roberts, and he's going to make a change. As sentimental as Roberts would like to be, he's got a game to win. So the end of Julio Urias' first major league game. He leaves with the bases loaded, and the Mets leading the Dodgers 3-1. Young pitcher Urias goes 2 2/3, 3 runs and 5 hits. 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, 81 pitches, 42 for strikes. So basically 50-50 in that regard. Chris Hatcher enters the game, bases loaded, and 2 out. Urias retired Cespedes to begin the inning, flied to center. Neil Walker would bounce out. Lagares 2 for 2, single to left, and back-to-back walks, and that was it. Urias had 7 3-ball counts tonight, 4 that went full. 90 was the limit. He's done at 81, and deGrom takes a strike from Hatcher. DeGrom is 1 for 11 this year. So the Dodgers still very much in this game if Hatcher can get the job done here. But he misses inside, 1-1.
Well, Chris Hatcher is trying to build back his confidence. Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt's confidence in him. And you would have hoped at the beginning of the season the score would be 3-1 Dodgers, and this would be the 8th inning, and Chris Hatcher would be in here. But he's now kind of relegated to a long man position, in a position where they can get him back on track.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Hatcher last pitched 5 days ago against the Padres. Now ahead of DeGrom, 1-2.
Well, you wonder, you know, Julio gets taken out with bases loaded, 2 out. The pitch count's still below the number, and it's the pitcher coming up who's a left-handed hitter, and a left-handed pitcher was on the mound. But really, that's a protection of the young man and his development also, because what a negative feeling it would be to leave your first big league game and give up a 2-out hit to a left-handed pitcher, compared to, I'm going to sit and watch a big league reliever get me out of the jam.
Which is precisely what Chris Hatcher just did, striking out DeGrom. So the Mets leave 3. We go to the 4th, and the Dodgers trail by 2.
We have Wani and we have Carlos Urias, and what an opportunity for them to be here to see their son with their major league debut. I'm going to start with his dad. And Carlos, primero, para ver esto para tu hijo.
Now Jacob DeGrom with the bases loaded. The Mets leave 3 and fail to score. So the Dodgers trailing 3-1 as we go to the 4th against DeGrom. It's going to be Justin Turner, Adrian Gonzalez, and Howie Kendrick. DeGrom has thrown 49 pitches through 3. He's given up 1 hit and walked 2. Turner a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. First of a 3-game series here in New York. A place that the Dodgers vacated after the '57 season. And then in '62, the Mets were born. Played in the Polo Grounds for a couple of years. And then Shea Stadium built in '64 in time for the World's Fair. Bill Shea was the brainchild, but behind the Mets. Turner just got hit by a pitch. Of course, both the Dodgers and Giants left after the '57 season. This is the 4th inning, and the Dodgers have had the leadoff runner aboard in 3 of the 4.
The Dodgers came up with a split at home with the 4 games against the Mets. There'll be no split in this series, being an odd number of games. I'd like to climb back into this one.
Gonzalez, the tying run at the plate. Gonzalez has done exceptionally well on the road this year, hitting .373. Exactly 200 points higher than he's hit back at Dodger Stadium. 2 balls and no strikes. Now 3-0. You mentioned earlier, or that DeGrom has really struggled in his last handful of outings. And it looks like he's trying to walk up a sand dune here tonight. 3-1.
Yeah, I would say his first 4 or 5 outs, he looked overwhelming and looked on his game, but he has started to build some hitters counts and then having to come back to the middle of the plate. A lot easier to hit when you start thinking about one side of the plate or one speed.
On 3-1. Into center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Dodgers are in business with first and second and nobody out.
And this is where it's important for the lineup to feel like it's a long, tough lineup to get through. Howie Kendrick, Jock Peterson now, Yasiel Puig coming up. Sometimes we realize and think that the constants out there are Justin Turner and Adrian Gonzalez, but now you need some people to drive them in.
Kendrick, another Dodger who has fared better on the road, .262 away from Dodger Stadium this year. And Howie, .209 back home. Dodgers as a team have averaged more than 2 runs per game away from Dodger Stadium than they have at home, and their team batting average, for whatever reason, is about 40 points higher on the road. On 1-0 to Kendrick with first and second, and nobody out.
And DeGrom has been pitching Howie away. Everybody in baseball knows that Howie likes to go to right field, and DeGrom with his velocity thinking that he can either steal strikes out there or get Howie to hit some foul balls late.
The 1-1 with Turner and Gonzalez aboard. To the right side. Campbell out at second, throw to first, not in time. So the Dodgers have runners at the corners now with 1 out.
You know how he gets it over there and gets out of the box to eliminate the double play. Does a nice job getting down there to first. There'll probably be a little delay, seeing if Terry Collins wants to challenge it, but I think they're going to move on. So the guys in the replay office won't go from close play mode to replay mode. They'll turn the page.
Well, we had an opportunity today, you and me and Rick Monday and our producer Mike Levy spent an hour and a half at replay headquarters today. One of the things we learned is Jock Peterson steps in. There are 810 innings played per night, and they are watching every last one of them. About this time of night here on the East Coast is what, about 8:35. There are about 25 people in that room. As Peterson takes a strike, 1-1. And there are 6 booths, for a lack of a better description, where there is a technician who's got all the gadgets in front of him. There are monitors all over the place for each individual game, and an umpire. And generally, they're just kind of watching the game. Now the 1-1 to Peterson, swing and a miss, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's like talking about a battleship that's just kind of floating out at sea until they start blowing the horn.
Yeah. It's like a fire department. They're just waiting for, there is a play. We might think there could be a replay request. So then they begin to go into position. And then there will be the request for the headsets. And they get not only, for instance, in this case, the Dodger feed, they'll also get the Met feed. So sometimes they'll see more camera angles than we will see. And then we actually got to play captain today. We could actually sit in where the umpires watch the replays and the stop action and all of that. Here's the 1-2. Peterson grounds it foul past George Lombard. And that process goes on from first game to last. And you think it's easy, huh?
They have a few records there. They've had 4 replays under review at the same time across the country in Canada.
Talk about a fire drill.
They've had 18 as the max they've had in one night or one day.
Now the 1-2, and Peterson takes high 2-2.
And I'll tell you what, it's done with military synchrony and quality. It's a very impressive place to go visit. And from the big board with all the different feeds that are coming in, from the super slow-mos to what's being fed to the technician that's sitting next to the umpire to what they then show the umpire. It is a well-coordinated dance that they execute as fast as possible.
DeGrom on 2-2 to Peterson. Did he check his swing? Nope. That's third base umpire Phil Cuzzy delivering the bad news to Jock Peterson.
Jock looking to protect, not sure at this velocity if it's a strike or a ball, starts the swing and can't hold up. The thing you'll hear yelled from the dugout from Jock Peterson to Yasiel Puig as they pass each other. Yasiel going to the plate and Jock back to the dugout with his head down. He'll be saying something like, "Pick me up right here, come on."
It's been a while since Puig took a walk, and so when he did in the 3rd inning and would come around to score, that was news. Puig with 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in. To short. That'll do it. So the Dodgers have first and second, nobody out, and can't do a thing with it after 3.5. Mets 3-1. Mom and Dad.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Joined now by Julio's parents. We have Juani and we have Carlos Urias, and what an opportunity for them to be here to see their son with their Major League debut. I'm going to start with his dad. And Carlos, primero, para ver esto, para tu hijo, para que él el sueño realizado. ¿Qué piensas en eso? Like, what do you think about the dream coming true?
Pues mira, tocante al juego, contento primeramente por estar aquí. Pues es parte de lo que sabemos que pasa en un juego, lo que está diciendo ahorita. Independientemente de lo que suceda, sabemos que tiene capacidad para estar aquí y contento y agradecido con Dios porque lo estamos viendo.
It's an opportunity for us, obviously a great dream realized, but to be able to be here and see him pitch and to be able to come and watch it is obviously a wonderful opportunity for our family. What is it like going through this as a mom, watching your son pitch? Para el madre de él, ¿qué estás pensando en todo esto? ¿Qué es para usted?
Pues que todo va a salir bien. La verdad es el momento que estábamos esperando, ¿no, hija? Es el momento que estábamos esperando y para eso estamos aquí, para apoyarlo.
We're here obviously to support him, and to be able to watch him pitch is a great opportunity, just to be able to be here and watch this. Are you a little bit nervous watching this? ¿Estás un poco nerviosa mirando a él pichando?
No.
¿Por qué no?
Porque confío en su trabajo.
I have a lot of confidence in obviously his work and his stuff. I'll ask you too, sir. Are you nervous about watching him? ¿Estás nervioso a mirar a él en este juego?
Mira, honestamente estoy emocionado. Estoy emocionado porque era un sueño esto ver a mi hijo ahí arriba de una lomita oficial de un partido de Grandes Ligas y ahorita el resultado, se lo decía a mi esposa hace rato cuando vienen las carreras, no voy a decir que no quería que debutara, ganara, hiciera todo de maravilla. Es difícil, quienes lo han logrado, pues qué bueno. Con él no ha sido el caso ahorita, pero está sacando autos después de la primera entrada. Yo le decía a mi esposa, la primera entrada para mí clave de que él creciera de lo que yo sé que es capaz. Ahorita esta primera entrada desgraciadamente le quedó con los batacitos de hit, pero no importa, está sacando out y eso le va a dar confianza para, si Dios quiere, más adelante.
He said, for me, it's not necessarily about the nerves, it's more about the emotion of being here and being able to watch him make his Major League debut. Not necessarily about the results, but just a dream since he was chiquitico, which is obviously very little, to be able to be here, and he's getting outs now, so that's good. Enjoy this, disfruta en esto, señor. Gracias por tu tiempo y gracias a usted por el tiempo también. Disfruta en esto. Congratulations and enjoy. All right, guys.
Thank you, Alana, and thank you to Carlos Alberto and Juani Isabel, the mom and dad of Julio Urias. Urias went 2 2/3 tonight in his Major League debut, 3 runs and 5 hits. Now, 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 4th after Granderson took a call, 3rd strike, and Cabrera flied to left. David Wright is stepping in. Wright is 0 for 2. Mets with a 3-1 lead, and Hatchard misses high and away. 1 ball and no strikes. We were talking early in the game what it must have been like being inside Julio Urias. What it must have been like for his parents to be watching this game in New York, and 48 hours ago they were back home in Culiacan.
Yeah, they almost missed their flight in Mexico City. They got here at 7 a.m. in New York City. The family hasn't really not slept for about 2 days. So a very exciting time, and I'm sure they'll have a great dinner or some kind of celebration after the game tonight. And then Julio get up tomorrow and work it out to be a professional big league pitcher, and they will probably get on a plane and go home sooner or later in the next couple days.
1-1 to David Wright. Now, we don't know, and certainly the Dodgers have not shared it with us or anybody else, best we can tell. Into center field, going back is Jock Peterson. He looks up and it's gone, a home run. David Wright's 7th home run of the season, and the Mets take a 4-1 lead.
batting average had dropped below 225 for David Wright, but the pop is still there, and this is a tremendous swing on the inner half and down, and this is typical David Wright with the oppo power. Chris Hatcher with 2 outs trying to get the Dodgers in the dugout. David Wright doesn't let him do it quite yet.
Now Cespedes, who's walked, scored a run, and flied to center. It's about to say before the right home run, the immediate future of Urias, vis-a-vis with the major league club or going back to AAA, at least prior to the game, was to be determined after the game tonight. Cespedes gets well out in front, 0-2.
I think the organization knew that he was ready to be a big leaguer, but they were waiting for the right time, and the right time came with, you know, a little tricep irritation with Alex Wood needing a couple extra days before he can go back out onto the mound, and they thought no better time than now than to see how he looks.
Cespedes down on strikes. 3 strikeouts for Hatcher, but the home run to Wright has given the Mets a 4-1 lead as we head to the 5th. Welcome back to New York as the Dodgers have some work to do, trailing 4-1 as we head to the 5th. Yasmani Grandal leading it off. Kike Hernandez on deck. He will pinch hit for Hatcher. Grandal single to right in his first at bat. 1-1.
The emotional grind of a big league season. Your young prospect comes up and has a rough first inning. You try and climb back into the game with first and second, no out, and don't get any runs, and then you have 2 out, nobody on the defensive side, and you give up a home run, and now you're down 4-1. You got to fight it.
Blanton warming in the Dodger pen, and Grandal with a fly ball to short right center. Lagares. Continue your Dodger retired numbers pin series collection on June the 4th when the boys in blue take on the Braves. The pin features number 20 worn by Don Sutton, courtesy of 76. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Here's Kike Hernandez batting for Hatcher. Went an inning and a third, a run, a hit, 3 strikeouts, and the home run. There's to strike. Nothing in 2. Did he go around? Nope. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. Dodgers have had the leadoff runner aboard in 2 of the first 4 innings. Oh, beautiful backhanded stab by Cabrera.
Let's take a look at the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa slow-mo cam. And you might see that in fast motion, slow motion, whatever motion. But you're going to see an outstanding play. Great hands, anticipation where the ball is going to be. And that ball didn't catch him. That man is very talented.
In talking with Terry Collins about Cabrera, I said, he surprised you in any way? He said, well, offensively gotten a lot more out of Cabrera than he thought he would get. Now here's Utley, warmly received by the crowd. He said the one thing that really has impressed him about Cabrera at shortstop, he doesn't have the most range in the world, but any ball hit to him, he just locks it up and makes a terrific play. Utley takes high. 2 balls and no strikes. Two and 1. Utley walked in his first at bat and a sacrifice fly in his second plate appearance. Well, Utley and those Phillies, who played the Mets 18, 19 times a year over the years, there's a call strike, were never exactly warmly received to begin with. And then the play in the postseason last year. Well, the tabloids went crazy, the talk shows went crazy, the fans went crazy.
Very few people in baseball history do something on the field that creates a rule change.
And it's named after him. Utley takes a walk, his second of the night.
But I think the justice in the rule change is that Chase Utley was not suspended. That they ruled it was within the rules of baseball at the time, but decided that that was the straw that broke the camel's back, or Tejada's leg, that they needed to make a change.
When you think back, had there ever been a suspension of any body based on a slide at any base ever? No.
The fight that breaks out after the slide.
Yeah, well, that's another
there's
story.
The suspensions, but yeah, not on the slide. And amazing, all the videos that I've seen and you have seen since the slide by Chase of all the other hard slides that have happened in Major League Baseball over the years, and there's some amazing ones out there. And Chase has been on the receiving end of some of those.
Corey Seager is 0 for 2, and the Dodgers trail by 3 in the top of the 5th. One ball, 1 strike, and 2 out. Into short left field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Dodgers with a 2-out rally here, first and second, bringing up Justin Turner.
The Mets got their runs last inning with 2 out and nobody on with the Dave Wright home run. Justin Turner looking for a little 2-out thunder.
Hitting with runners in scoring position this season has not been a Dodger strength. As a team, just .239. But Turner, on the other hand, throughout his career, even before he came to the Mets and certainly with the Mets, has been a very clutch hitter. Dodgers 0 for 4 tonight so far with runners in scoring position. And Turner takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. DeGrom about to throw his 86th pitch. Utley and Seager from second and first, and right at Asdrubal Cabrera, and that's that. No runs, a hit, a walk, and two men left at the halfway mark. 4-1 Mets. Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We treat kids better. The fellas with Boyd Robertson in this picture are Vin Scully and Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry will be here this weekend. That's old Shea Stadium, by the way, where that picture was taken. Strawberry and all of the 86 Mets will be back here for ceremonies honoring their 30th World Series title. And here is Joe Blanton making his 23rd appearance of the year. The Dodgers are trailing 4-1 in the bottom half of the 5th.
The 86 Mets will have to be escorted around here. They'll get lost. Shea was a little easier to figure out where you were. One of the slowest elevators in all of the big leagues.
Oh. Not one of the slower, the slowest.
But one of the safest places in all of New York, because when you walk down in the tunnel of the locker room, you had to walk by all the police officers that had been assigned there at Shea to keep us safe that night.
And it was always interesting because there were horses there too, and you had to walk carefully.
Yes.
Walker, a double and a bounce back to the box. Blanton, the third Dodger pitcher of the night. When Shea Stadium exploded, imploded, and disappeared, there wasn't a wet eye in the house.
Oh, no. All over the big league landscape, everybody was cheering.
You know, it opened in '64 in time for the World's Fair, and it was out of date by '65. 3-2 to Neil Walker.
You know, when one of the best features of a ballpark is the garden in the bullpen.
Joe Pignatano.
That's when you know it's not real picturesque.
There's a lot of fertilizer anyway. 3-2. Lagares and Plawecki to follow.
It contributed, because of its lack of beauty, it contributed to kind of the edge of coming to play a New York team.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't coming to a palace.
But you were close to the airport.
Oh, you definitely were that.
And you were constantly reminded about every 2 minutes.
And we still
Breaking
are.
ball, called strike 3.
I used to time my pitches with the planes, and there was a balance between my fielders are not going to hear the crack of the bat at all, or is the plane rattling the stadium a big enough distraction that I want to deliver the ball when the plane is about to come over top of us.
Deplane, deplane. There was nothing but deplanes. Juan Lagares. He's 2 for 2. And he has 2 RBIs tonight. He has doubled his RBI total for the season. And that happened in a shaky first inning for Julio Urias, who made his Dodger debut, just joining us. Perhaps nerves in the first inning. 36 pitches, 19 for strikes. Would give up 3 runs and 4 hits. He would end up 2 2/3. Well hit to right. Back goes Puig. And it is gone. A home run. Juan Lagares with his first home run of the year. Second home run of the night for the Mets, who now lead at 5-1.
Juan Lagares got off on the correct side of the bed today. He's having himself a night. He's pretty much the Dodger killer right now. A couple of base hits, some RBIs, and now a big fly to right field. Joe Blanton's had great success with that slider as he has rejuvenated his career out of the bullpen, but Lagares caught up with that one.
That was what they call in baseball parlance a cement mixture. In the right center field, Peterson and Puig. Puig taking charge for the second out of the 5th. Wright a home run in the 4th. Lagares a home run here in the 5th. The Mets on the year as a group have hit 66 home runs. That's the most in the league, and most of their runs come by way of the long ball. Eric Campbell takes a strike. For David Wright, his 7th home run of the season. Cespedes leads the National League with 15. He's also the league leader in RBIs with 36. Campbell bounces to 3rd. That's going to do it. The home run by Lagares is first of the year, and the Mets have a 4-run lead after 5. league debut out of the bullpen in Milwaukee back in '55, couple of innings. Fernando came out of the bullpen when he made his major league debut. 8 years and 2 days ago, Kershaw made his debut at Dodger Stadium, and Urias tonight here in New York.
From the 50s to the 80s, the culture was to bring your young pitchers, even if they were going to end up being starters, to groom them from the bullpen. And the reason was because you could pick the situations to break them in. A blowout 7-1 in the 5th inning, you can bring them in for an inning. You can match them up against different lineups or different sections of the game.
Adrian Gonzalez has a hit and 2 at-bats. It's a little past 6, and some folks are perhaps just joining us back in Los Angeles. What was your assessment? What did you see tonight from Julio Urias?
I thought Julio did a nice job recovering from the 1st inning. You could see, I think, some nerves that got into his command.
Gonzalez has been struck out.
People have scouted him and watched him, and as they've developed him, have always talked about his poise and his ability to command the baseball with all of his pitches. And we didn't see that immaculate command tonight, but we saw evidence of it after he got past the 1st inning, and probably the butterflies started to calm down a little bit. But I was most impressed with his poise and his pacing on the mound, even when things were going a little bit wrong. It never seemed like he was emotionally letting it spin out of control, and that gives you a lot of hope. And that electric left arm has definitely been well scouted, and it's going to be exceptional as he hones it in.
1-1 to Kendrick, who's 0 for 2. And again, I totally defer to you, but watching him pitch, most of the time when he was out of the strike zone, it was high. Kendrick into left center. Cespedes with the catch, 2 out.
If you are just getting home and joining us, this is what Urias looked like. These are some of the good pitches that he finished hitters off. David Wright, who had a home run later in the game. DeGrom got the fastball by him. I think we saw the secondary stuff was not quite located as well as the fastball. And I think he will learn, of course, that you've got to get ahead of big league hitters. His first strike pitch percentage was not high, and when he was doing well, he was getting that first pitch strike.
Jock Peterson 0 for 2 tonight against DeGrom. He's been struck out twice. He lofts a fly ball to right, and there's Curtis Granderson. 1-2-3 for Jacob DeGrom after 5.5. Mets 5 and the Dodgers 1. The Mets with a 5-1 lead, and Jacob deGrom has enjoyed the offense for himself tonight. And on the first pitch, a fly ball to center field. And there is Peterson. That's the first out of the 6th inning. Blanton is the 3rd Dodger pitcher of the night. Urias 2 2/3, 3 runs and 5 hits. Hatcher an inning and a third, 1 run, 1 hit, the home run given up by David Wright. And here's Blanton in his 2nd inning of relief. Dodgers an off day yesterday with quotes around off. They flew 3,000 miles. Last time the Dodgers had an off day at home with nothing to do but their dry cleaning was before the first home game of the season, August 11th. The next time they will have time off all by their lonesomes will be the All-Star break. All of the off days that the Dodgers have had, they've had 1 or 2 on the road. One in Toronto where we got in at 6 o'clock in the morning and slept that day away. Have been travel days. So much has been made of the Dodgers having played 20 in 20, and they finished at 11-9 during that span. Days off are in name only. Nobody's complaining. It's the life we chose, but that's also the reality. Granderson down on strike, 2nd strikeout for Blanton.
You know, the easiest lifestyle as far as a Major League Baseball player is the Central Time Zone teams. And then a few, you know, the East Coast teams that are all clumped together. But the West Coast teams, any off day is usually an airplane ride.
You're flying somewhere. So the Dodgers will be playing a Sunday night game here against the Mets. Local time start 8 o'clock. Then they will fly out of LaGuardia, which is just a mile or 2 from Citi Field. Get into Chicago, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Get to bed at any rate. Monday, Memorial Day, they've got a 4 o'clock game local time. They'll have a few hours of sleep, get back in the saddle, and begin a 4-game series with the Cubs. They'll finish up with Chicago on Thursday afternoon, fly home. And the following weekend, the Braves are in, the Rockies are in. And the next day, a day off, and fly to San Francisco. No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. As Drupal Cabrera, a double in 3 at-bats, a run scored and an RBI, and he is done as Blanton strikes him out and retires the Mets in order. We'll go to the 7th. New York 5 and the Dodgers 1.
in New York. Everybody, welcome back. Of course, we talked so much about Urias making his major league debut, a first, of course, for him, but also a first for Kenta Maeda as far as visiting. Oh, dang it. I thought I was going out. As far as visiting this great city, he went today with his trainer and his personal interpreter, Will Ireton, to the Empire State Building as he was able to take a tour before the game today. Of course, Kenta Maeda on the hill tomorrow in Game 2 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Yasiel Puig hasn't been the first time he's been in New York, but is the first time he visited the Statue of Liberty. Got a nice private tour today before the game. A guy that always goes out and enjoys the sights in the big city and certainly in the Big Apple, guys.
Yasmani Grandal, 1 for 2, 1 out. And he grounds routinely to first. Campbell takes it unassisted. 2 out. Trace Thompson had been in the on-deck circle. He's been called back, and Carl Crawford will bat instead for Joe Blanton. Blanton goes 2 innings, 1 run, and 1 hit. Crawford takes a strike. The Dodgers have had DeGrom on the ropes a couple of times tonight, but it appears as if he has found his sea legs midway through the game.
The 3rd, 4th, and 5th were not clean innings for him, and they were looking good for the Dodgers. Just only could finish it off in the 3rd with 1 run.
Crawford, a 200 hitter, 13 for 65. 1 and 2 from Jacob deGrom. Crawford is done, and so are the Dodgers. In order on a 6-pitch inning for Jacob deGrom. 7th inning stretch, 5-1 Mets. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. Here's Lewis Coleman as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. He's the 4th Dodger pitcher of the night. Blanton 2 innings, a run and a hit and a home run. And Coleman's 23rd appearance of the year, and he's held opposing hitters to 149.
149 will tell you, don't look at the ERA, that the ERA was accumulated in 1 or 2 bad outings. The rest of the year he has been lights out.
And if you're a right-handed batter, you need not apply. Right-handed hitters are 5 for 49 against them this year, 149. Here's David Wright, who had a home run off Hatcher in the 4th inning.
Earned run average is one of the most deceiving statistics for people that come out of the bullpen and pitch. You can have a outing where you have to kind of wear it for the team, eat an inning or 2 because the team's already so far behind. You give up 5, 6 runs and maybe 2/3 of an inning or an inning and 1/3, and that just paints your ERA. And you pitch for a month and a half of lights out baseball to get your ERA back into the 3s. But the manager and the pitching coach and the general manager completely appreciate you and see you as a very good piece in the bullpen without looking at your ERA.
3-1. Boy, if you have a stinker of an outing as a relief pitcher in the first or second outing of the season, you wear it all year.
J.P. Hollow, who's been one of our most consistent relievers over the last few years and really a savior of the bullpen at times, has started out slow this year. But no one is really wavering in confidence in him.
Right on 3-1, takes a strike, 3-2. Which is more deceiving, I wonder, for purposes of discussion, nothing more? A relief pitcher's ERA or a starting pitcher's won-loss record?
That's a good question.
Here's a 3-2. Call strike 3. Right-handers need not apply.
Well, with starting pitchers, you're looking at defensive support and run support from the offense. And so you might look at their earned run average and see a 2.02, a 2.2, a 2.7, and you might see a 500 record, or maybe even a game or 2 below 500. They're just not getting the support on the nights that they pitch. The timing is wrong with the offense, or the bullpen giving up their lead and blown saves.
Now Cespedes 0 for 2, a walk and a run scored tonight.
And I think that's the major benefit of sabermetrics and the different analytics that go on, because a different way to examine the game and to quantify who are the most talented players that you want on your team.
No balls and a strike. Did not go around, according to first base umpire Adam Hamar at vacation filling. Five runs, 7 hits for the Mets, a run and 3 hits for the Dodgers. Coleman, the 4th pitcher of the night. Big rip.
That fastball in for Lewis Coleman is the butter. His bread is his slider, but you have to put the butter on the bread because you got to keep the hitters honest. He'll get most of his work done with the slider away.
On 1 and 2. The aforementioned slider away. 2 and 2.
But the fastball in is so that when the hitters start to turn the outside corner into the middle of the plate, according to how they approach the way you pitch, you have to readjust their sights and pitch them in.
Neil Walker on deck. Cespedes down on strikes. There's 2 out. Celebrate Dodger pitching great Don Newcomb's 90th birthday at the Dodger game Wednesday night, June the 8th. First 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Don Newcomb bobblehead presented by United Healthcare. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Nuke turning 90. He's out at pretty near every Dodger home game, he and his wife Karen. They have great seats. They must know somebody. Nuke, of course, grew up in New Jersey, and was with those great Dodger teams. Roomed and traveled with Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella. Turning 90. Talk about 90 years young. 3 balls and no strikes. Neil Walker doubled in the first inning, scored a run and drove in one. Since then, he's grounded out and has been struck out. So Coleman strikes out the first 2 batters right-handed. Walker takes a strike, 3-1.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation with Don Newcombe that I wasn't impressed or didn't learn something. If we were talking about baseball or about the shoes that he walked in throughout his life and what he experienced. It gives you amazing perspective on what we enjoy now and what he came through and who he is and who he still is as a gentleman
and a baseball scholar.
Yes.
3-1 to Walker. Lined into right field. Puig coming on, can't get it. Drops in for a hit. A 2-out single for Neil Walker, who is 2 for 4.
Can't imagine going through the adversity and the unfair treatment that he went through in his life and others, you know, men and women of color, and then living a life now that is so graceful and so appreciative of what he had accomplished and what he did. And I'm in awe when I just listen to him talk or just see him walk into a room.
Age and wisdom. Oh, by the way, he was a hell of a pitcher.
Oh, for sure.
He was a Cy Young Award winner, Rookie of the Year, and an MVP.
But I got to get to the big leagues because of my ability, and there was no barrier. He had the ability, and there was a barrier. And that would be one of the most frustrating things in the world, I would think, is to have world-class ability and not be able to do it at a world-class level and have a prejudice against you that you can't attain a dream. You can't do what you want to do and be treated equally. And that's what amazes me about Don Newcombe and other men of color that I've met, and even Latino players that talk about it with Jackie crossing the color barrier. What they did for society and what they did for themselves and their families and all of us, and we still learn today when we're around them.
Lagares.
And when he's turning 90, you get real sentimental about, you know, how long are we going to have him, and we want to have him forever, but the days with him are cherished, just like the days this year with Vin and his being his last year.
On 2-1, outside, 3 balls and a strike to Juan Lagares. Coleman strikes out right, and Cespedes to begin the inning. Walker single to right. Bottom of the 7th. Now 3-2. You know, in the Brooklyn days, everybody had, it was Duke, Campy, Pee Wee, out in right field, Farillo, Schoonge, Oysk. Here's the 3-2. Pop down the right field line. Puig coming in and makes the catch in fair territory. Yasiel Puig makes the play. Lagares flies out, and he's got those steps, and the last one in fair territory. We'll go to the 8th. You can hear the love in the air for Chase Utley as he steps into the batter's box. He's walked twice and a sacrifice fly. So the box score in the morning will show nothing, at least to this point, except the RBI. At a strike, 0-1. Jerry Blevins is the new pitcher for the Mets. He is one of those left-handed specialists. An opponent's hitting just 159 against him, with Utley leading off and Seager next. That's why he's in. And there's a strike. It's 0-2. One of the strengths of Terry Collins' club this year has been his bullpen. Collectively, they've got a 2.36 ERA, which is the lowest in the National League. And they've got a 4-run lead to work with in the 8th as Utley takes call strike 3. First time Utley's hearing cheers in a year.
Well, other than the airplanes overhead, the airplanes overhead and the 2 home run cheers, that was probably the 4th loudest thing we've heard tonight.
So 1 out, and Seager, who's 1 for 3. Corey at 265. Finds the hole between short and third. So Corey Seager is 2 for 4. 1 out here in the 8th inning.
Well, both times using left field as he brings Justin Turner to the plate. Corey does with both of his hits.
Here comes Terry Collins, and there goes Jerry Blevins. TC will make a double switch. He was assigned to get Utley and Seager. He got 1 out of the 2. Is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop online at choosenissan.com. You're looking at 27-year-old Addison Reed, a 3rd-round pick of the White Sox in 2010. Then he was on to the Diamondbacks and came over to the Mets August 30th of last year, making his 23rd appearance of the season. And through his first 22 outings, he has been more than solid. In fact, as we mentioned, the Met bullpen is really a source of strength. Well, you see why Terry Collins made the change. Turner has struggled against right-handed pitching this year. Lefties, he's been just fine. Dodgers trailing 5-1. They need base runners.
Justin a little upset, being quick pitched. He's trying to get in and get his stance and was not even halfway through. It is actually almost looking down as Reed was about to deliver the ball.
Well, if he wants to make a legal case out of it, he's picking the wrong guy. Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire, is a member of the Illinois bar. He's a lawyer in his 7th big league season. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out in the 8th. 2-1. Adrian Gonzalez is next. Now 3-1.
Guys with high leg kicks or guys that have a long, arduous kind of pre-pitch or pre-swing routine, those are the guys that can get vulnerable for quick pitching.
To the right. Granderson coming in, and going back is a second baseman, Walker, who had the most difficult play of the 3.
It looked like he called it in a time when he was very confident he was going to get it right here, and you watch the other guys kind of pull up, and then he's in a predicament because it wasn't as easy as he thought when the ball was up there about 60 feet in the air. Granderson probably had the best shot at it after you watch the replay.
The Mets, a very good defensive team, have made only 18 errors all year. Made their 19th, in fact, tonight. Turner fouls it to the right.
Well, with the anger of being quick pitched and the second life of having that pop-up drop, Justin Turner on a free roll up there. Maybe he can give the Dodgers some life.
They trail 5-1, 1 out, 1 on in the 8th. To third. Right to second, on to first, and Campbell digs it out. That'll end the inning. Right to Walker to Campbell. We go to the bottom of the 8th. On Access Sportsnet Dodgers, Nomar will join John and Kelly plus Alana Rizzo with interviews and reactions from the clubhouse. Coming up right after the game on Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan. Now, wait a minute. J.P. Howell has arrived at the hill, and he is being joined by Dave Roberts.
This could be just an equipment malfunction. The glove has come apart. Going to ask Yasmani not to throw it back so hard.
My glove needs a little nip and a tuck.
That's one thing that we learned at the replay headquarters, is that the laces are not part of the glove when it comes to a tag play. Because when they measure a glove for the proper size, they're just measuring the whole glove, not the laces. JP's laces are a little long there, and we found out that the spikes are part of the shoe when you go to tag a bag. So that extra quarter-inch or so at the bottom of your shoe with the spike length can touch the bag before getting tagged out, but you can't use the laces to tag somebody out.
810 innings a night.
Outs.
Boy, 810 innings would be here all month. 810 outs a night is what these fellas watching the replays are.
And they count the outs, and then on the extra inning games, they've got to add a few.
There are roughly 25 guys in the replay room in Lower Manhattan.
6 major league umpires and a major league umpire supervisor.
And a slew of technical people who can do stuff that we can barely understand. Plawecki bouncing to second base, and that's the first out of the 8th.
The interesting thing is if only one replay review is going on and there's no other reviews or close plays in other games, the original umpire sitting in the chair that's watching his 2 games that is assigned, when he all of a sudden has a replay review, they transfer his second game over to another pod, and then if anybody who is not busy in their pod doesn't have a close play, they come over and can help that umpire. But ultimately the umpire in the chair, no matter what the seniority, no matter if he's just up for AAA vacation or if he's had 30 years in the big leagues, he's the one that makes the decision sitting in the chair.
And we had an opportunity to sit in those chairs today. And working the replay and the stop action and the slow-mo.
And there are sabermetrics even being used in the replay room according to the statistics of are calls being overturned a veteran umpire to a veteran umpire, kind of protecting someone's career, or a young guy is getting overturned more than a guy that's been in the big leagues and been a crew chief and umpired 7 World Series. But they have done the statistics on what calls have been stand, what have overturned, what have been upheld, and the statistics prove out that there is no bias according to which umpire is on the field and which umpire is in the chair.
Howell on 2-1 delivers a strike to Eric Campbell. It's 2-2.
So it was very enlightening, and Rick Monday and you and I all agreed that almost all of baseball needs to go there to erase some of the mysteries of what's going on in replay, and for the players to understand, and all the different people involved with the frustration of winning or losing a so-called replay challenge.
They've got their system figured out. That was one of the other takeaways from today. 3-2 to Eric Campbell, who's down on strikes. 2 out and nobody on in the 8th.
And we should thank the guys there that gave us the tour, the 6 or 10 guys, about 10 guys that were in there at the time, putting the show on for us and showing us what they go through, and Chuck Torres of Major League Baseball for arranging it. It was a fantastic tour and an enlightening experience.
Ty Kelly, who's been in the big leagues for 3 whole days. Pinch hitting with 2 out. And he takes a strike, 0-1. Looking ahead to the Dodger 9th, Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Peterson. And Kelly narrowly missing his first big league hit. Juris Familia. We're going to close up shop tonight. Ty Kelly looked like a young Ray Knight. Ray will be here. Ball goes through Buckner's leg. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. So we'll see Ray tomorrow. Boy, it's uncanny. And those were the uniforms that Ray Knight and the '86 Mets were wearing. They're going to wear them all weekend. Comebacker, barehanded. It wasn't the most graceful of dives, but he wins the gold medal. Whoa. Carl's Cam replay on a night in which Juris Familia made his major league debut. Mike Bolsinger was a teammate of his at Oklahoma City, and he said that way to the mound. So Urias, with his family in tow, would go 2 2/3 innings, 3 runs and 5 base hits, but he would strike out 3 along the way. A night he'll never forget, and hopes that he gets a second chance sooner rather than later. We'll know more about that after the game. Here's Juris Familia to close up shop for the Mets. They lead 4-1. Gonzalez 1 for 3. Slaps it foul. It's 0-1. Familia. Who really became the Met closer by happenstance last year when Henry Mejia got himself into trouble. Where do we go? Well, let's go to Familia, who now has 16 saves on the year. 1-1 to Gonzalez. 1-2. Pitching matchup tomorrow. Kenta Maeda and Noah Syndergaard. Sunday, Kershaw and Cologne. Monday, it's on to Chicago. Into left field, and Gonzalez begins the ninth inning with a single to left. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Howie Kendrick is 0 for 3. Takes a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Sounded it too.
We have seen when closers come into games that are not save situations that sometimes they have a flat tire. They don't have the adrenaline or the pitchability that they normally have when the pressure's on. Dodgers hoping they can find an outing like that from Familia. You get the leadoff hitter on, and your job is just to try and build an inning. But if you start to scratch and claw and plate a few runs, give yourself a chance.
Kendrick on 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. All right, so the average fan is going to say, well, he's going out there. He's supposed to get the other guys out. What is the difference between a save and non-save situation? Got to get 3 outs to end the game.
Yeah, it's a difference between natural adrenaline and forced adrenaline, where you have to almost create a situation in your brain.
This is going to be a tough play for David Wright. He can only hope it will go foul, and it will not.
This is starting to look like one of those innings for the Dodgers where the closer might catch some bad breaks, might make a bad pitch, but all of a sudden his adrenal glands and his concentration is changing now with first and second no out because of this perfect chopper from Howie Kendrick and a nice little kick that actually went deeper into fair territory as it rolled on the grass.
So Kendrick muscles an 85-foot base hit. And it's stopped on its own. Now here's Jock Peterson, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out twice, flied to right. Jock gets on, things get interesting. Fouls it back, it's 0-1. Peterson has faced Familia twice, 0 for 2. And now the count is 0-2. Slider has Peterson shaking his head. Puig is next, and then Grandal. Trace Thompson and A.J. Ellis remain on the bench for manager Dave Roberts. No balls, 2 strikes. Third time Peterson down on strikes tonight. First out of the 9th.
Familia's got great stuff, but Jock here on an 0-2 pitch, chasing the ball in the dirt, and really during the whole at bat he didn't swing at 1 strike, and that's really hard to hit at the major league level off a quality closer when you don't make them throw it over.
Now Puig stepping in. He has walked and scored a run. For Puig was only his 8th walk all year. And he takes low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Grandal on deck. Familia, 1 ball, no strikes to Puig. 96, too fast.
The first pitch, there was a ball. The bottom dropped out of it. That one he elevated a little bit, but still had good sink just above the knees.
A ball, a strike, in and out. In the hole into left field for a base hit. The Dodgers have the bases loaded as Gonzalez is held at third. Kendrick is at second. Puig is at first. Don't look now as Yasmani Grandal comes to the plate. He's a potential tying run.
The 5th hitter of the inning. He can take a shot for the granny, but after that he's probably going to be looking like he is a leadoff hitter and just find a way to get on.
Grandal 1 for 5.
Find a way to get on without recording an out.
Trace Thompson on deck to pinch hit. Mets 5-1, 1 out, bases loaded in the 9th. One ball, no strikes. Nothing yet doing in the Met bullpen. Grandal with 1 career grand slam takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pedro Baez beginning to warm in the Dodger bullpen just in case. That's an insurance policy the Dodgers would love to cash in tonight. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 9th. Two and 1.
You can see the spray pattern of Familia out there on the mound is not consistent. He's missing low, he's missing up. He pulled the first pitch in to Yasmani Grandal, a good foot inside. There's a good chance he could make a glaring mistake right here, and Yasmani could capitalize on it.
Grandal doesn't believe it, thought it was high.
A lot of times you don't get the borderline pitch when you haven't shown very good command. This ball is a breaking ball and looks like it's going to be up. And the strike zone says it was, but the lawyer behind the plate says it was a strike.
Case dismissed. 2-2, big difference between a 2-2 count and a 3-1 count, which is why Grandal was so torqued. Now it's full.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a closing argument, Charlie. And it's going to come with a 3-2 pitch. It probably should already have the Dodgers a run and bases loaded still be out there.
3-2, 1 out. Grandal 1 for 3 tonight. And the pitch on the way. Inside, ball 4. Dodgers pick up a run. It is now 5-2.
RBI for Yasmani Grandal. And the tying run is now at first base.
Pitching coach Dan Worthen, once upon a time bullpen coach with the Dodgers. He has one of the driest senses of humor. He can calm down anybody in distress. Mets haven't lost a game this year. when taking a lead into the ninth. And here's Trace Thompson to pinch hit.
Trace looking to reach base again without recording an out. Sac fly doesn't do you very much good right here. You want to try and get yourself on and get the tying run now to second base.
He's done well as a pinch hitter this year. Takes under the knees, 1-0.
You got to keyhole him. He's all over the place right now. Look for a pitch in your spot. Other than that, you got to act like a leadoff hitter. Try and figure out a way to get on.
1 ball, no strikes to Trace Thompson. There's 1-1. Juris Familia, big fella, 6'3", 242. 4th year in the bigs. He's 27. Mets signed him when he was 18 years old out of the Dominican. 1-1 to Thompson with the bases loaded. Swing and a miss. 97.
Trace was definitely looking for the ball in there. He had moved off the plate slightly before the pitch. He slightly opened up his stance, knowing Familia's tailing action will be in his kitchen. Tried to catch up, just didn't right there.
1-2. Kendrick, Puig, and Grandal the runners. He threw that 98-mile-an-hour fastball with great vengeance.
A couple fastballs where he really hits his spot. Chase, understanding what he's trying to do to him, just misses that. And who can blame him at 98 with movement?
Well, the game comes down to Chase Utley. $43,462 singing their own version of Kumbaya. Into right center field for a base hit. That's going to roll to the wall. Kendrick scores. Puig scores. Grandal is on his way home. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Going to third is Utley. And the Dodgers have tied the score in the ninth with 2 out.
Chase Utley has been the villain here in New York, and he has become more of a villain now. Yasmani Grandal, a catcher from first base, scores because there's 2 out. And when Chase hits it into the gap, Yasmani's got enough wheels to make it home.
Now Seager has to jump rope out of the way. I can't believe it.
16 saves on the mound. Familia not coming into a save situation, but now the game is tied.
Utley, the lead run, 90 feet away. Seager, the 8th batter of the inning, takes a strike. 1-1. The first blown save of the season for Juris Familia, and he came into the game with a 5-1 lead.
And the Dodgers deliver Julio Urias's gift, which is to take him off the hook. So what he has is big league experience, and it makes it easier to make the next step.
One and 2 to Seager. Stays alive. And now there's Kenley Jansen. If the Dodgers take the lead, it'll be Jansen for the save. Now Baez, who started warming up about 10 minutes ago in one of those, well, let's see what happens kind of deals. The 1-2. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Seager is 2 for 4 tonight.
What a shot in the arm that double does for the Dodgers. Wow. They were on the canvas.
Chase Utley with the bases clearing hit. Seager takes outside, 3-2. For Utley, a double, takes third on the throw. He's knocked in 4 of the Dodgers' 5 runs tonight. Seager on 3-2 is down on strikes. Chase Utley clears the bases with 2 out. 4 RBIs on the night. Public enemy number 1 in New York is public enemy number 1 and then some.
What a turn of events for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the top of the 9th inning. 3 runs driven in by Chase Utley on the double. Gets to third on the throw. He's driven in 4 of the 5 Dodgers runs tonight. And guys, when that happened, Dave Roberts absolutely erupted on the dugout stairs. Jumped up on top of the stair and was yelling like crazy. The guys were coming in as they crossed the plate. He was patting them on the back, yelling, screaming. This is a guy that's always positive, is always having a great time. What a turn of events in this one. We are now tied.
And it was that man, Chase Utley, who cleared the bases with the double. His 9th 2-base hit of the year, took third on the throw. And we were mentioning just a few minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago, they got Baez up in the bullpen. Let's see what happens. Well, here he is. The Dodgers with their unlikely 4-run 9th inning against Juris Familia, one of the game's best closers. And now here is Baez facing the top of the order for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch, Granderson fouls it back, and it's 0-1. Remember, in Colorado, the Dodgers scored 5 in the 9th. Won that game in the most improbable fashion. Well, to deep right, Puig is at the wall, and the great enthusiasm that the Dodgers had 30 seconds ago has been punctured like a balloon. Curtis Granderson with his 9th home run of the year is the Lexus play of the game. The Dodgers score 4 in the top of the 9th and still come up a run short. The walk-off by Granderson. That's a wrap from New York for Oral Hershiser. Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. Now we send it to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. Brought to you by Nissan.